everybody, I'm Alex Warren, and welcome to Locked In, the show where we investigate the truth behind the clickbait. Once my guest steps in the studio, we'll lock the door, throw away the key, and the only way out is when I come to a verdict. On this episode, we're locking in Josh Richards.
Hello, hello. What is up, baby?
How'd you like that, baby?
That's pretty sweet. I like
different.
that. Yeah,
a little different.
Yeah. No,
So,
it's good.
Yeah, I like to put make up a crime before you come in here, and it's pretty much like by the end of this interview, I get to know you a little better, and I get to decide whether or not I think you'd actually commit this crime.
Okay, so
the crime that me and my team came up with was scamming the public by manufacturing drama to have something to talk about on your podcast.
oh, okay, that's
So
pretty.
it's a little lighthearted, kind of
Yeah,
gets you off the topic. Sometimes we talk about some deep shit on this podcast, sometimes we don't, and that's where I'm handing out right now.
Sweet. Hell
So I've known you for a little while now.
Mhm.
We had, from the beginning of time, Hype House versus Sway drama, which
Yeah.
is the funnest thing in the world. And to this day, I still get videos on my For You page of when you guys showed up to our house.
Oh yeah, on the live stream and everything, right?
Do you remember anything from that day at all?
Not like vividly, but the thing was, so we showed up two different times. There was one time that was on video, and then one time that wasn't. And I was there the first time that wasn't on video when we came in, and it was like a big altercation, kind of like at the front downstairs area.
So
Do you remember
cool.
that? Like, yeah.
Because
you were there, but like everyone was like talking their shit and whatnot, and I like kept telling like Chase, I was like, come outside, like let's just handle this, just me and you, like we don't need everyone, like let's just go
forgot
outside.
this
Go
involved
outside.
you.
Yeah.
I told him before the podcast, I'm not going to talk about drama. So I'm thinking like him and I are both bystanders. I totally forgot you were a part of it.
Yeah, no, it was like mainly, I feel like it was mainly like the me and Chase shit at the start. So
Right.
I was like, let's just go handle it like man versus man. We don't need fucking all my guys here and all your guys there. Like
Yeah.
this is silly. Let's just go outside.
Yeah, you don't want to get me angry.
And he was like, nah. So it was just like a stupid little like bitch fight where we're just like talking shit back and forth. And then we eventually leave. And then I think it might have been like a week later or like within that kind of time period, I was at a dinner with Griffin, and that's when the live stream happened, when all the people showed up, the clips were made, Hollywood Fix was outside, there's like the videos of them jumping the gate or whatever to get
Right.
in, you know what I mean? Like that, I wasn't there that day, so I was there the different week, but it almost like, yeah, they were almost like the same thing happened twice, you know what I mean?
I just remember I came down because like a lot of things in that house I never knew was actually happening. Like I would find out on TikTok room shit about people in my home before I even knew it, and people would text me like, "Hey, what's going on with this? Like, what's the deal with this?" I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Genuinely, and everyone thought I was covering. I genuinely didn't know what half that shit was happening in that house, and which is just so funny because I remember when this stuff went down and everyone was at the bottom level. I don't know if this was the day you were there when everyone came into the house, and I'm sitting there trying to like de-escalate my ass fucking because like I don't even know what's happening. I'm like, hey guys, why don't we all get along? And I think it was Jaden or it was you. Someone goes, Alex, I love you so much and respectfully shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I go, okay. And I
Yeah.
go back into the elevator and I was just so scared of conflict and all that stuff. I just remember that so
That's
deeply and just something that I've carried through. And that was like, what, 2 years ago?
That was a while ago, yeah, it had to have
How
been like 2 years ago.
Fucking crazy. Shit's moving fast, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, we're still here.
I'm still here.
was
Still
fun.
here. Still here doing
Wait,
things.
what have you been up to? Because I know, like, so you were always very business oriented. I think out of all the social media stars and what you will, I think you were always one who was kind of like, I want to make this count.
Mhm.
Like when you kind of looked at like either me or all the other people, it was very like, I just wanted to make content, buy cool cars, and fuck off.
Yeah.
Where like you were like, fuck all that. I'm gonna make money. So I just remember you were always just like talking about business and shit. And I to this day still don't understand half the business stuff, but I think you have that like down to a science. And how's it been? How has it gone from when you started? Is it everything you wanted to do, or is it something you realized you loved?
Yeah. No, I mean, entrepreneurship has been, I think, a part of my life since I was 7 years old.
Right.
I was the kid that would go to the candy store, buy candy for cheap, go to school and hustle it, right? Sell it for
love that.
more. Or I was the kid that had a yard company, and then in the winter, because I lived in Canada, it turned into a snow shoveling thing. And then I had a lacrosse mesh company and a hockey t-shirt company. So I was always trying to find ways to make money when I was a kid. And then when it came to social media, it really was looking at it as lightning in the bottle and going, okay, how can I make this more and more and more and more?
Right.
And that was the business side for me. So I was just kind of doing what I knew, and it's been pretty amazing. We started off with founding Talent X, and then I exited from that company. So we were able to have that be acquired by Rec Global, and then from there started founding my own companies like Annie with Bryce, or getting involved with other companies like Dog for Dog, or my venture fund. Now we have our first fund that we raised 18 million. Be invested in all kinds of companies across the board, biotech, fintech, and others. And it's been amazing. It's really cool to be able to be a part of not just the present, but know that I'm investing in the future.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole thing that really intrigues me, is like continuously, or me knowing that I'll continuously have my finger on the pulse. Like, that's what I want. I want to always be a part of what's going on in the now. And to do that, you have to prepare for the future.
I love that. You're talking about all these investments and shit. I just ordered yesterday one of those wands that, like, it's a Harry Potter wand and it shoots like a real flame. Have you guys seen those things?
No, I haven't, but now I want
Fucking
one.
sick, bro. I'm not even kidding. I bought the Snape one. It was like $120, and it quite literally, I press a button and it'll shoot an actual flame, and I'm gonna light a fire. I'm gonna light a fire with like my little out back with like I have a fireplace, and I'm gonna make a TikTok where it looks like, dude.
That's sick.
But investments, dude. The only thing I've ever invested in, and genuinely, like, this is actually a problem because, like, like, besides my bank account, I'm not liquid at all.
Yeah.
So it's like, everyone's always talking about, like, guys, you got to go liquid, passive income. Fuck yeah. I'm like, yeah, I don't know anything about it. It scares me, bro. It genuinely scares me because it's like, the closest thing I am to, like, investing is the lottery.
Okay, wow, that's really far away from investing.
Yeah. So, I'm tiptoeing. I'm putting my foot in it a little bit.
Right.
But I've always admired the fact, and you were very, honestly, you know, from the time that we knew each other to where we are now, you were very open about, like, what you were doing. And I think it was something that always like made me like, wow, fuck, I should probably do this. And I just never understood it. Like, I can make a TikTok blow up. I'm cool. I know that. I don't know what to do with the money I make from it. I'm very irresponsible. And the fact is, I'm looking at your birthday right now. You were born in 2002.
Yes.
That's fucking weird. You're like, what, 19 right now? 20?
I'm 20.
20?
Yeah.
Fuck me, dude.
Yeah.
That's impressive. It really
Thank
is.
you, man.
That's something to be really proud of. Like, do you have family?
Yeah. I have, I mean, my whole family's back home and outside of Toronto. But, I have a younger sister, younger brother, and my mom and dad all out there.
That's awesome. Do you, like, for me, my biggest thing is when I started making money, or even before, because I was obviously homeless before that. It was something where, like, I always talked about wanting to take care of the people around me. Have you found yourself doing that at all, or like any philanthropy in a way?
Oh, 100%. I mean, the whole goal for me when I kind of started off, or like what I've realized would be the minimum I could achieve to, like, have happiness in my life, right? Like to really think like, all right, I made my mark, I did what I wanted to do, is like, I just want to have enough money so that I can, like, make sure my brother and sister have no student debt, they're able to get set up in their lives, have their jobs. If they need help with anything, I'll be there. Have my mom and dad be fine after, like, retirement, buy them a house, get them a place out in like Florida or wherever they want to be, and then be able to just support my kids and grandkids and my family and make sure they don't have to worry or stress about nothing, or always have food on the table, play any sport they want to do, anything they want to do, right? Like, that's what I look at as, like, happiness. So as long as I can get to there, which I feel like I'm pretty close or there soon, then I feel like after that, it's just like, all right, let me do what's fun. Let me do what I want to do, because once my family's set up, that's all that really matters.
I love that. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you wholeheartedly, which is something really cool. For the last, like, 3 years, my brother's a Marine. And so I've just been, honestly, just like, they pay him shit, dude. It's like $200 every 2 weeks. It's crazy.
Jesus.
He's a Marine and he gets that. So I've, like, you know, obviously helped him out. It's a cool feeling. Like, everyone says it's like, you know, and it's such a cliche saying, but, like, the money isn't the happiness. It's what you can do with it. Oh, and so, like, the things I've done, I think that obviously you understand this as well. It's such a cool opportunity.
No, 100%.
I'm reading your sheet right now. You obviously are multi-talented, because I've heard about hockey and all these different sports. You speak more than one language?
Un petit peu, a little bit of French.
Oh, cool. I know je peux avoir, which I think is can I have?
Right.
It's just because my fat ass in France wanted a burger.
Okay, yeah.
I wanted to learn how to order it in France.
Well, the other thing too is, like, there's multiple different versions of French, right? Just like there's like English Canada,
They're
English United States, and then English in, like, UK kind of thing. And UK is, like, a lot more similar to Canada, and, like, how they spell. Like, for example, we spell color with a U in it, COLOUR. You guys spell it COLOR, right? Favorite. There's a U in favorite for us as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, there's definitely like some changes. And then same with French. So, like, if I go to France, let's say, and I start trying to speak French, not that I'm, like, amazing at French, right? I did French from senior kindergarten until 8th grade of school, and then I dropped out of French immersion when I was in high school just because I was doing social media and all my sports, and I was just like sick of French. And I wasn't very strong at it. Like I was really good at school, but just like French, like I wasn't the greatest at, and I had like major ADHD, so I didn't even like try to learn the French. I just needed like my whole thing was like, oh, if I just know the words in the textbooks, then it doesn't really matter. Or if I can understand what the textbooks is asking me, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
When I go to somewhere like France and I would try to speak French, they'll know like, oh, that's like French Canadian. That's French Canadian.
Cool though.
But they do not fuck with that. Like they're so French people are so like, I'm gonna say this nicely, I guess, like they're prestigious in a way, or like they're very like they're like kind of a little bit above other people, I think, in a little bit of a way. But it's because like you come into there and you're trying to speak there, and they're just like, bro, you don't know how to speak this language. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of I'm like, all right, I get it in a way, but like that's like in Quebec. Like I don't know exactly how it is in France, but if I go into Quebec and I start to speak French, they'll know right away I'm not a very well spoken person in the language of French, or they'll know like this guy is not from here,
right?
And they will talk mad shit, like they like, or just like how they kind of like interact with you after that, like all that. Like I have this story one time. My godmother's from Quebec.
Oh, cool.
And so I have family out there too in like Quebec City and whatnot. But I was in her class because she was also my teacher, and she was telling me this story about how like when she was in Quebec, she's going up this elevator. And she's with her husband, and her husband's from, like, it lives in the same town as me, so he's English speaking. And they're going up this elevator, and they're speaking English to one another. And so there's this other couple there, and they are from Quebec. They're in the elevator with them. And they're kind of looking at them and, like, giving them dirty looks because they're speaking in English. And then they start shit-talking them, like, back and forth. But they're speaking in French, so they think, like, oh, they won't know what we're saying. Like, they, you know, these dumb idiots. But my godmother speaks, that was her first language. Like, she didn't learn English at all until she was probably, like, 20 years old, right? So she's sitting there hearing the whole thing, pretending like, oh, I'm just gonna like let it slide, like pretend I don't know. I'm dumb English person. And then when she goes to walk up the elevator, just before the doors start closing, she turns around, cusses them out in perfect French, and then just keeps walking. And they're both just standing there like, oh fuck,
oh, that's so cool.
She was one of us. But yeah. That's just kind of how it is. But yeah,
I learned Spanish for that reason of just kind of like I wanted to know what, like, obviously since we're in California, we're very close to the border. There's a lot of Spanish speaking people, and someone was like, I always thought of like the ideology of like someone talking shit about me in a different language. So I learned it, and people were really nice.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sure they were.
I thought it was. I learned Spanish in hopes that people were talking shit, but they weren't, and so I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Now I know Spanish.
Yep.
But no, that's just so interesting that I realized that too when I was learning, because I downloaded an app before I went to France, and I learned French I learned it okay, and just like the basics of like wanting to go somewhere.
Yeah,
like,
where's the bathroom?
Yeah, and so like as I'm like we had a driver, and my driver obviously was fluent in French, and he was like, no, like you're gonna sound like a fucking idiot when you talk like that, because it's very like slang oriented. Like, you know French, and that's the baseline, and then there's all this slang that goes into
100%.
it, that to the point where like if you're talking, it's very much like if someone came up to you as, pardon me, would you like, may I please have water? And it's just like such a weird, like, it's just so interesting.
Yep, no, for sure.
I don't know if this is, I talk to a lot of people who come on the podcast about this, and this is something just for me, like I came to LA in a relationship. I've been in a 4-year relationship, and that's something where, you know, people like you who are very good looking motherfuckers, and me, the human embodiment of Shrek. It's something where like,
you're a cutie.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
I actually was going to say, I think you look really good. Like,
thanks, man.
Yeah, I feel like you definitely, like, I'm not, like, you lost some weight.
Hey, Josh.
For sure.
Josh Richards
looks like you've been hitting the gym
too, guys.
You know me.
No, but
Philanthropist.
no, but seriously, something was like, you know, you had a public relationship or several. I'm not exactly too sure where that's standing, considering I've watched your TikTok. And I swear to God, every girl that I've ever followed is on there. But that's somewhere it's like, you know, how is dating in LA? How is having a public relationship in the eyes of like you guys, especially Sway House, like when you guys were in a relationship, that shit was fucking public.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
And keep in mind, my brand is my relationship, but also like whatever else I got going on. But I think there's definitely a disconnect between people who are big and then get into relationships, and then my situation where I was big in a relationship.
100%.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How was that? Are you ever going to have a relationship in the public eye again, or are you kind of straying away from it? And also, how is it dating in LA or wherever you are? Because it seems to be you're national right now. I think you go a lot of places.
Yeah. So yeah, being I guess in a relationship like through Sway and everything, like it was definitely a lot because I think we were we were consistently getting bigger at that time too,
Mhm.
like all of us. Like that's when we were kind of in our like prime of growth.
Mhm.
It does get a little bit difficult when you do have like millions of people, you know, putting their input on like what your relationship is and how you should live your relationship and
I know
who's making who's making the right decisions,
I
who's
live it.
making the wrong ones, and oh well, this person treats this person better. No, that, you know what I mean? And it just
Right.
like it becomes this weird thing, and like you can say, you know, all you want, like, oh, it's not going to get to me, it's not going to get to me. But if you're someone that ever reads comments or you see that, it's going to end up going in the back of your mind a little bit, right?
Right.
Like you can't control that. So it's just human nature. And that part definitely is difficult. But I also view it as like I signed up for this.
Yeah.
Like this is what I wanted to do since I was a little kid. I knew I wanted to entertain. So to go and look at like the negatives and be like, oh, and complain, I just feel like it's silly because I have so much to be blessed for at the same time too, right? Like I've got
100%.
to meet so many great people, and like I'm getting introduced to a lot of like females that I wouldn't be if I didn't do social media, right? Like I'm getting to
Dude, it's cool.
yeah, exactly.
Like growing
So,
up watching Disney and all that shit.
Holy
like,
shit.
meeting the people that like
yeah,
I
we're
grew
like
up
your
watching.
celebrity crushes as a kid. You
Right.
know what I mean? And it's like so there's so many positives to look at too. That's just what I kind of try to do. And like you're always going to be able to find a negative. But to the point of like, would I ever date again in the public eye? Yeah, I would. I just don't know
It wasn't
if like
too much of a negative for you.
No. And I just think it's life. Like what? I'm gonna try to hide a relationship for the rest of my life forever. Like that's just not gonna work. You know what I
always
mean?
wondered that too, because I see people do it and they're like, my private life's my private life.
But
and,
the
and
thing
all
is
respect to them. But like,
but I've never seen it work.
the problem is, I feel like it becomes a thing where it's like no one when you're dating someone, you don't want to be hidden, and like I think that's like that's the trade off. It's like you either go public and you get the shit, and you know you're putting your relationship out for people to judge, and then you go private, and all of a sudden you kind of feel like, even as though it's a mutually decided thing, I would feel like if I had a ultra famous girlfriend, which I do, but like it's like if I wasn't in my position, it'd be something where I'd be like, why doesn't she want to like show me?
100%. Show me off.
Yeah, like
no,
not
for
show
real.
me off, but like,
no,
yeah,
but kind of show me
kinda,
off,
yeah.
bro. Like
All right, fine.
exactly what it
Yeah,
is.
show
Like
me
you're in a
off.
relationship. You're in a relationship, and you're with someone that you either love or you have like
You
these
want to
deep
feel like they're
feelings
proud
for.
to be with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The same way you feel about them, you want them to reciprocate that, and it's like
It's like the same as sneaking out the window.
exactly
Yeah.
right. So it's like bro. You are wanting that person to shower you in affection. That's why
Sure.
you're with them. So it's like you want them to post you and be like, oh, I have the best man ever. Or if you're a girl, like I have the hottest girl in the world, the most beautiful girl. She's a nice, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they want that. And it's like, that's what makes it difficult, like when you don't post. And then it's like the other thing that I think makes it even more difficult than that about not posting or keeping it a secret is I think that actually starts intriguing people more to dig into your relationship.
I feel like you're getting more eyes on you, especially. You're
Because people are like,
Yeah.
oh, they're probably it's all the speculation now, and then everyone gets to speculate
Yeah.
about your relationship, and then
it
everyone
makes it
gets
bigger
to start
than it's supposed to be.
exactly.
If you just
and
come
then
out.
and then it's like now you're getting even more talk about it. It's like people
Right.
are trying to catch you in acts and shit, and so it's like I just think if you want to be someone that keeps your relationship private, you can definitely like decide to do things that aren't such in the public eye, like where you eat or like, you know,
Right.
like when you're going to the movies, if you are someone that's like hella famous, like you just got like all the eyes on you, rent out a fucking movie theater if you want to go watch a movie with someone. You know what I mean? Like there's
Yeah.
ways to do it if you're
Yes.
someone that's like really big and you're so concerned about that. But I don't know.
I actually agree with that a lot, actually, and I hear everyone's takes on it and like what they do and what they don't do, and I think that's something very. I haven't gotten that taken. That's the most one that speaks to me because it's always what I've wondered. Like it's kind of like, you know, you hear about all the relationships.
Everyone says they want to be private. They
I
don't.
know
They don't.
It's. I think it's just a ploy to kind of get more attention, which is so funny. Is like the fact is your intention is to be private, yet you get the opposite of what you're trying to do.
100%.
If you're out there, no one's gonna give a fuck.
And everyone wants their like significant other to show them off. Let's cut the shit. Like everyone
I know,
wants that.
All right. I know. Gosh,
Everybody.
this is reminding me of like I see. I love it because you're very very much like kind of like not unfiltered because you know it's not. It's more of like you're very just unapologetically yourself, which is something like I feel like that resonates with a lot of your fans, and that's something I think why BFFs is also so popular. The show you do, I call it a show because it's more of a show in my opinion.
Right.
How has that been? And also like it's so interesting. Dave Portnoy, I'm scared of that motherfucker. I'm so scared.
Yeah.
I remember Dave DM'd me about being on BFFs, and I genuinely, I think my heart dropped because
Right.
I'm just a nervous guy.
Yeah.
And also like I'm a big like I hate talking about other things, which is ironic because I have a podcast. But you know that's something where it's like, you know, I love the show so much and I'm just so scared of it. How did that happen? Did you expect it to get as big as it did? And I know I keep doing these multiple questions, but I've had so many questions for you that I've never gotten answers to because I like never ask. And
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect like place because I feel like so many people ask this as well. It's like, how is it? Is it fucking everything you thought? Like, I just talk about BFFs. I love that show.
Yeah, of course. So, it's funny because you started this podcast with talking about like the kind of like us coming to your guys' house and whatnot, and the beef with Chase, and that's actually what started this podcast, BFFs.
Yeah.
So because that went so viral, like I'm sure you remember, like it started turning on Twitter, doing all that, like when the diss track came out, especially. Dave was starting to see TikTokers all across his explore page, like all on his recommended on Twitter, and so for him, that was like weird. Obviously, he'd never really stepped into that world before. He'd never seen that shit. So he goes and tweets out and he goes, "Why are these wiggle dickers showing up on my feed?" Right? And fair name, by the way, to call us. Like, it's a great name, right? And so from that, he made that tweet. I saw it when I was at a dinner, and like me and my team, we were like, okay, we got it. Like, we got to connect with him somehow. Like, we got to get him on the phone. We got to get him on the email.
Right.
So we get his email. I ask him like, yo, do you want to do an Instagram live with me? And with that Instagram live, I'll explain to you all the drama. So he's like, yeah, sure. So we go on the live together. It has something along the lines of 80,000 people on this Instagram live with me and Dave. And I'm explaining to him all the beef. He's like joking back and forth with me. We're kind of just joking around and we're riffing pretty good.
Yeah.
And a lot of people liked it. Snapchat really liked it. They reached out about doing a show. And so I went and pitched that to Dave. The first minute he was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And I was like, oh, okay, sick. So like we still have 29 minutes. What are we going to talk about? So I was trying to just, move on, trying to pitch other things with my team. And we land on the podcast idea. And he's said, yeah, no, that's a good idea. I like that. I like that. So that's where BFFs was really born. And to answer, is it everything I ever wanted? Pff, more. Like, the reason I did that was because I wanted to branch out into a different demo. I knew TikTok was very female dominated, and also just the content I was doing and the name that I had to myself and kind of the, I guess, stereotype of who TikTokers were and Josh Richards is, was going to be really hard for me to branch over and get guys without someone giving me like a stamp of approval, And who better than Dave Portnoy, right? Like, who better than Dave? So to get to do that podcast, I mean, I think it's shown a lot more of who I am and like added depth to me, because now I'm doing content that's an hour and a half long instead of short little TikToks of me like winking and looking cute. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you had the attention you needed to show them that you had something else.
Exactly. So now like people are actually getting to see the personality. Or I feel like when I was first doing the podcast, a lot of the comments from the guys on Barstool were kind of like, oh wait, this guy seems pretty normal. Like, he seems like a normal dude. And I was just like, finally, bro, finally, yes. So no, it's been amazing, and I'm super thankful to Dave and Barstool and all of them for doing that podcast.
No, I think it's also something really cool because it's like you said, I mean, you're very aware. Like, and that's something really cool that, like, for me, with my shit, like, I was able to do the YouTube stuff. I did, like, I'm doing the podcast. I did the TikToks. I've always been, like, trying to branch things, and you've done it very well where, like, you have, I feel like you've done a lot. Like, you've done, like, every little thing that you could possibly do and find what you're interested in, and the fact that you like a lot of it is really cool because you can tell. Like, even with BFFs and all those things, it's very much, even Tik, which is, I love it. It's like it's almost like a more personal BFFs where you kind of like, I feel like as the audience member watching that, and I was telling you before the podcast, I was binge watching before we came here. Yeah. It's, you feel like you're a part of it. Like, somehow. And like BFFs, you feel like you're kind of an audience member on a show. And with Tik, I feel like I'm actually like somehow a part of it.
It's definitely more personal, I think. And also I think that's how we've kind of tried to aim it. We've definitely had to shift Tik from what it was at the start, because I think BFFs kind of took a lot of what that series was and made it into a longer form content. But how I try to look at it is, you ever watch The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
And you know how there's the Talking Dead after?
Mm-hmm.
BFFs is The Walking Dead, Tik is The Talking Dead.
That's so funny that you view it that way, because I don't actually view it that way.
Really?
I understand what you're saying. I view Tik as almost like a fast-paced version of BFFs where I can get the bulk of like the drama.
Yeah.
But it's nice because you're not, most of these channels that do that are an outside perspective while you're an inside perspective. And you have a guest like maybe Bryce or something like that, which I like a lot because he's, very much like, he's very aware of the fact that he creates a lot of the drama and he likes
Yeah.
it. And so it adds a nice diversity of content where it's like BFFs, you guys are talking about things maybe you're not fully in tune with, or some things you are.
Yeah.
And like T-Talk, that's something where like I trust the source of you guys because I know that you guys are actually a part of the click of it.
Right, 100%.
Like,
I think we get more into like the nitty gritty of TikTok drama too on T-Talk, right? Where in BFFs, like we're talking about more like greater scale things, because not everyone on that BFF show is going to want to listen to the little tiny things that happen in TikTok world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And I'll stop sucking your dick in a minute. And
All
it's
right,
like
cool.
something, but genuinely, like I love it because you also have the diversity of like you have fucking Dave, who's very much unfiltered. He will say whatever the fuck he wants, and he knows damn well what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
And then you have you, who it's like you're the inside source in a way where like you know what's happening. You kind of like you have like that reputation or the credibility is what I'm saying.
Right.
And then you have like Brianna, who adds like that. Like it's a very cool dynamic, and I love that a lot. And so I will finally put my chapstick away as my lips are getting dry from kissing his ass. I saw that. I remember talking to someone, but also I recently signed a record label deal. And I saw you're signed to a deal, right?
Yeah.
That is the most interesting shit I've ever seen in my entire life. I remember looking at an artist sheet as I was like, because I had to meet a lot of labels before I eventually not settled. Well, that I did not settle.
After you racially accepted.
Racially accepted. I am very happy with my label deal, but I saw that you're signed to Warner, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's such an interesting shit.
Yeah. Very.
Why and what do you do?
Yeah. So signed that right after the diss track, or like probably a couple months after the diss track, I would say. And the whole idea there was to go into it and essentially make almost like Tiny Meat Gang / Lil Dicky type tracks, right? Like more kind of joke rap. But I think I was just going into the studio and really actually falling in love with like making music. Like it was just a really fun time.
It was really fun.
Yeah, and it's like it's very therapeutic, right? You go in there and you're just kind of you and yourself in. Thanks for the water replacement. That's awesome.
That's my fucking film.
That was sick.
I love that.
But no, you get in that studio and you're like you're alone in that soundproofed room.
Yeah.
And all there is the engineer like outside, but when you just have that like beat on loop and I'm just like going through and I'm like kind of freestyling or whatnot and talking about my feelings or talking about my day and like able to finally express what I'm saying. It's, oh my God. It's like you leave and it's such a high, right? Like you're so stimulated almost after. And I was just having so much fun. I was like, man, I kind of want to make like more real music. Like, I don't know if I really want to just make joke music and shit around. So then
remember my vlog bit with you, Huddy, and Bryce? And
yeah. And he's like, well, I'm making real music. And I was like, tell me when your real music has however many views in a week. Yeah, that show was hilarious. But
when you said that, real music, I just had the biggest epiphany from that fucking scene. We did a vlog bit, like first Hype House.
So
and
funny.
They were like, I feel like there was tension there. There was still tension.
Definitely.
Because like I put
but me and Bryce loved it. We didn't care.
my
That was the thing, right?
God.
Like we ate that up. So
well, I put Huddy and I think my intention was to put both of you in an uncomfortable situation. I was not anticipating that you and Bryce would actually have as much fun as you did in that.
Oh yeah, it was great.
My whole vlog time when I was filming those videos was just putting people in uncomfortable situations and getting their authentic reaction to it.
Yeah.
And it was funny to see the back and forth. And one of the sayings was from Lil Huddy was when he said, I make real music. I don't make that shit. And that set you and Bryce off so fast.
Oh yeah.
And it was the best, I think, 15 minutes of filming I've ever done.
No, it was really good. It was really funny.
Yeah, but so you're signed to at Warner Records. Is that something that you? Because I'm looking at this sheet, and the reason I'm saying this, and I don't normally say this, I swear to God, I don't see one entertainment category you're not hitting right now. Is this something like I'm looking acting, fucking sports, lip syncing, comedy, video skits? Fucking got signed to a record label, started in 2010. Fucking every milestone is looking like it's being hit. Co-owns a company. I'm like, the fuck is this shit? But in seriousness, like, is there something that you're kind of? I applaud you for doing everything, but is there one like you're leaning towards that you like the most besides entrepreneurship? Because I think that will coincide with whatever entertainment you're doing.
100%.
Or is the goal just to fuck off with all of it and go straight entrepreneur and just own companies, or do you still like the entertainment part of it? And is that something like? Is there one area that you're kind of touching that you like the most?
Yeah. Actually, like I feel like recently I've really fallen back in love with the entertainment side of things. Like there was a little bit where I was just very entrepreneurial focused, and I wasn't enjoying social media as much just because like I just had like a hard like time, like it was just like a bad time in my life for me and whatnot, and
Sure.
like there was just like troubles I was facing and stuff, and with that I just kind of stopped loving posting. Like I wasn't enjoying it as much. It was like I was more just going through the motions of my day than actually enjoying my day. Like it was like I know I had to post this many TikToks, so I'll get up and post those TikToks. I know I had to roll out of bed, get on the podcast, so I got on my podcast. But I was falling out of love with things, and like the podcast was the one thing that still like kind of drove me to do content. But recently, it's like I've just kind of found that love again that I've had for it since I was like a younger kid, which has been awesome. And I definitely am like really excited to step into the producer / like actor, I think, phase.
Is acting the thing you wanted to start with?
That's something that I've wanted to do since I was a really young kid. Before I started doing social media, I did musical play and I did improv in Toronto and
musicals.
Yes, sweet.
Kid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I wasn't like hardcore theater
I know you
kid,
couldn't tell. Just like obviously it's my the aura I give off, and obviously
right, major jock vibes.
I scream Abercrombie and Fitch model, but no, like genuinely, like it's something where it's like for me as well. Like that's the whole thing. Is like I started social media singing, and then no one gave a fuck, and I started making the comedy stuff, and that's where I saw a lot of the success. But I knew it would come back to the music, and that's something really fucking sick that I'm asking that because I'm reading. It says you wanted to start out acting or always had dreams of becoming an actor, and I think that's really cool that you've done everything to the point where honestly, you're in a privileged position. This is fucking insane. Like the fact that you. And it's not a privileged position that you were handed. This is something that you've worked your ass off for, and I commend you heavily for that. That's fucking insane. You can't say that anyone says you don't deserve to be here because you put in the fucking work. You and I both know. We've watched hundreds of people that we know personally just kind of be like, I don't really care and whatnot, but you had aspirations to do this, and I really think that is fucking awesome. But also it's cool to see that you coming back to the thing that you wanted to do in the beginning while trying everything else, to know that, hey, these things interest me. I love these things. These things are great. I'm good at these things. But, to try something that you don't fully know yet, or it's kind of foreign, and be like, I want to do this, that's fucking sick. Even where you're at today. I just think that's fucking awesome.
No, I really appreciate that.
One question, and you don't need to answer this because it's something I think obviously this is like kind of borderline where I think, I don't like drama, but with the people that maybe, because in social media, even me, who I view myself as someone who isn't very conflict, there's going to be people that we may not align with. There's going to be people that, whether it's public or private, there's just disagreements and drama. Mm-hmm. Are those, like, obviously reflecting back, because these are, whether it was a year ago, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, have you found a consensus or like met where like it's kind of like, oh hey, we were stupid teenagers, and what you did fucked with me and what I did maybe fucked with you. Are we good? Or are you still like, are you kind of like past that and you're kind of just like, oh, I just may not fuck with this person, and that's okay, that's part of the business? Like, have you kind of made amends with people, or is it kind of just like, I'm doing my shit, when the time comes, the time comes?
Yeah, no, there's definitely been people that I've made amends with, and then there's definitely people that I think like I just know they're not supposed to be in my life. Right. You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
I think it's just about making those decisions. Something my dad always said to me is, you shouldn't have someone in your life unless they're making you a better person, and you just really need to live by that, right?
Oh, yeah.
If someone's in your life and they're not making you a better person in any way, or they're not bringing positives to your life, then honestly, like, why are they there? So I guess for me, it was always really hard because I loved to please everyone as a kid. Like, I wanted to be everyone's best friend. I wanted to be the guy that everyone liked. I wanted to be able to go in any room and like have great conversations and make people laugh. And like, that's just kind of who I was. I loved playing team sports. I just loved groups. Like, it was just, I just had such good times. I feel like more people, more memories, more fun, right?
Yeah.
And I think that was probably one of the hardest lessons for me to learn out in LA, was really like, you can't be friends with everyone. You just can't. It's not, you can be cool or you can be acquaintances, but it's a really important skill to learn how to keep people at arm's distance. You know what I'm saying? Like, just kind of keep them out of arm's reach, or keep them just, you know what I mean? Like, you got your inner circle, and then you got your people outside of that, and then you got your party friends, then you got the people that are in your workspace, and then, like, you know what I mean? Like, but you really need to know where that core is.
I was not expecting that answer for you. I'm going to be honest. And this is why I love this podcast so much. This is genuinely, that was I loved that answer. And that's something where, I have met you several times, and it's something where, like, we never really had, like, a deep conversation or talk, and, like, we've had those talks before, but, like, I had premeditated notions of how I thought you were, and it's something really cool that, I didn't think that that even crossed your mind of kind of, like, like, everything you just said. But, yeah, I struggled with that a lot. Like, I struggled with something similar where, like, when I was vlogging and stuff, I wanted to make everyone happy because, in terms, I never viewed my vlogs helping them, even though, that was a byproduct of it. I mostly viewed it as them helping me. Yeah. And so I always wanted to make people happy, and I felt kind of like a shapeshifter in a way, where my personality, like, I was becoming a person I wanted everyone else to be. So, like, whether I was with one set of my friends, I would be like this, and another set of my friends, I'd be like this. And ever since I quit the vlogs and started, like, focusing on the things I actually wanted to do in life, I think I became more of my own person, and also
100%.
like I became more happy with my own person. But I also noticed the people who, weren't around anymore, and that's something where you see all these. I see these fucking, like, people go on these fucking tangents online, and they're like, if they ain't around you at your lowest, fuck them. They ain't your true friend. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, because at the end of the day, that's what this business is. It's transactional.
Yeah,
And then you understand who you have around you that are the people who lift you up, and you have the people who, you don't hate. There's nothing bad about them that they're not coming around anymore, but it's also someone, like, that isn't something that, you're totally mindful of. And that's just so interesting to me that you had that topic of just that that's where your headspace is at 20 years old. And I say that as a 21-year-old, but, like, it is really, really interesting. And it's also, these are the crucial parts of our lives where, dude, fucking people are still in college at our age.
100%.
People are in college at our age.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing. Like, I try not to, like, freak myself out sometimes, and it's so funny because, like, I have times where people obviously are telling me, like, dude, you are so fucking young, like, you're 20, you're 20, you're 20. But then I also have times where it's like I'll like, I'm in bed before or whatever, it's like midnight and I'm about to go to bed, and I just have almost like attacks of, like, holy fuck, like, have I been doing enough? Am I doing enough? Like,
me in the shower this morning.
Is there like more I need to be doing with my life? Like, what I'm already 20. I was 17 when I got out here. It's been 3 years. Fuck, like, what do I need to do next? And so it's like, it's just that like constant kind of thing. But I think that's also, like, a little bit what drives me to keep doing more, right? Like, I think it can be a good thing too.
Fucking insane, Josh. You're a mind reader. Like, literally, I was in the shower this morning when I said this to myself. I was so pissed. I woke up so mad, and I don't know what it was. I mean, I'm doing everything I ever thought I would do.
Right.
Like, and all of the above, and I think you are as well. And that's something where it's like, I had that, like, I was so pissed off this morning in the shower, and just saying that to myself. And now that you're like, it's cool. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you plan for any of this? Like, or is this, how did it all happen? I feel like I'm kind of, like, brinking over something that obviously, I feel like this is one of the most like interesting things, because, like, my story is applicable to a lot of people who may have felt like they were dealt bad hands. Like, obviously my story is not a secret. Like, I've had a lot of shit happen to me, and the fact that, I was able to do this is very inspirational for a lot of people who may have lost a parent or have gone through abuse and stuff like that. Is that not to say your story isn't any interesting, but I think with people, it's something that so many people I feel like could be in your position where you were going into this may feel like, some odds are against them and stuff like that. How did it happen for you? What was your first reaction?
Yeah.
What was going through your head? Because, like, you were 17. That's fucking young.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy, but it, like, with social media and it all really started when I was 13 years old. Yeah. My sister threw me in a video, and I always got to give props, like, to my family, like, all in all, my sister, my brother, my mom, and my dad. Like, they were the most supportive, like, family I think I could grow up with. Like, I'm very blessed in that aspect. So, but my sister posted me in a video on her Musical.ly account, because that's what it was at the time. And to us, it blew up, got like 50 likes, but that was crazy. We were like, holy fuck, 50 likes. So we're running around the house.
It's 50 people. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people, right?
Put them in a room. They wouldn't fit in this room.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't even fit in here. So she was kind of famous. But there were a couple comments from girls, like, asking what my username was, and I was like, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Josh about to get some. Holler at your boy real quick. Holla. So then I made my own account. I was always a really competitive kid, and I was like, okay, I'll get 10,000 followers by the end of the summer. If I don't, I won't keep doing it. If I do, it's a sign. I got to keep doing it. Then, like, 2 days before summer vacation ends, I have a video get featured on Musically, and that's kind of like the old version of the For You page, but it was incredibly hard to get. Like I was doing Musically for, like after that, I kept doing Musically for probably, it was around for at least 2 more years, maybe 3 years total of Musically before it got changed to TikTok.
Yep.
And I got featured maybe 3 times. Right, so it was like in that whole 3 years. So like in the first 2 months,
That's how I was too.
and it was like it's just like you don't get featured. It was hard to do.
Trust me,
Unless
I
you're
know.
already big, right? Unless you're already big, like guys that were already big could get featured. But if you were small,
I got crowned at 50K in 2017.
jeez, yep. I remember those. I remember the crowns. That's crazy.
We're reminiscing. On
Yeah,
those
for
times.
real. But
I haven't met any creators who can like get behind this. Like it's been, I was on Musically.
do you remember the
before.
Dabrio? Did you ever do live streams?
Yeah, and then they
was
had a
the
separate
gift, it
app
was
for
like-
it.
yeah,
yes,
Lively.
Yes.
That shit was so
and then
funny.
you remember when like ByteDance talked about buying it, like your rep would like, or you had someone who was like, hey, like,
Oh,
we're
I didn't
gonna
have a
change
rep.
it. Oh, did you not?
No. I did not have a rep
They
at this
pulled us
point.
into a room and like they invited us down to like the headquarters of
Well-
Musically, and like they ran through like it's about to be TikTok.
I wasn't like that big yet.
I only had 50K.
Then maybe they just didn't know me. I was back in Canada
Okay,
just doing
so
my thing. So
I
I
was-
think it was
I
more
was-
because,
yeah,
I was
I
in
was here.
Canada. I wasn't like connected at all. I didn't have
It was
like the
all,
network.
Yeah,
like,
it was all California people.
Oh
over there.
yeah, no, I had nothing like that. And but yeah, I just remember like I was doing these videos, and 2 days before the summer vacation ended, I had a video that ended up getting featured, and I went from the 8K to like 24K overnight, and because I thought like I was not going to be doing it anymore because I was at
Boy.
8,000 followers and there was 2 days left. I was like 2,000 followers in 2 days, probably not. Maybe I won't keep doing it. Woke up the next morning and had all those followers, and I was like, damn, this is meant to be. So kept filming, kept doing my thing, and you go like 3 years down the line of doing 5 videos every day, 4 hours of live stream every night.
You're bound.
And then my move to LA was after the Lights Out tour. I was dropping out of my senior year of high school to go move into the house with all the boys and found Talent X and do my thing. And it was definitely a culture shock. Like going from my town of 18,000, 16,000 people, whatever it was at the time, to LA was just nuts. I mean, we would have, I feel like I came to LA and I like get introduced to people or like get invited to a party, and I was like, damn, there's more people in this fucking house than there are in my entire town. Like, what is going on? Like, so yeah, it was just, it was mind blowing, but I also had wanted that my whole life. So I was just stoked. Came out here and I loved it.
You know what an interesting fact is? After hearing your story,
Love an interesting fact.
the first person to ever reach out to me, like famous, like no, in my opinion, famous when like TikTok was blowing up, was Bryce.
Oh yeah?
Bryce was he slid in my DMs and said, "Yo, we should film sometime." It was
that's sick.
2019. Yeah, like he was the first person to reach out to me. I went up there and hung out with them, filmed, and I actually met you when you were I believe it was you, and I don't know if you're gonna remember this, you and Jaden and a few other people in this house, and I had met you that day.
Was this at the house with the boxing ring in it?
I don't know. It was small. Maddie Monroe was there. It wasn't small. It was a nice. It was at Maddie Monroe's house, I believe.
Oh, it was at Maddie's.
think
Okay,
so.
okay.
You were there though.
I was
know for a
there. I
fact.
was there.
Know for a
You
fact.
sure it was me?
Know for a fact.
Wasn't Anthony?
No. I know for a
I didn't
fact because
realize.
I knew who
Okay.
you were. This was so long ago. I knew who you were, and you were. This is right when
I was there
you
for a couple days. I never like slept there, but I was
No,
like there a
yeah.
couple times. I
You-
was there a couple times.
you were visiting because you were talking about going back home, and it was like this whole thing. Me and Culver were up there, and it was before like I think we had like 200K. Like it was crazy.
Okay.
I don't know. I just thought I remember that because you were the first people I ever met.
That's nuts.
Nuts.
Wow.
I know. Last question, and then this has already been almost an hour, which is fucking nuts.
Jesus. Time's flying.
I struggled with this for a while, and I don't know if you did. And this is more of a personal question. Do you struggle with the work-personal life balance? Like, is that something that you struggle with, or is it? Because for me, I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with the work. I'm obsessed with my calendar being fully booked out. But I noticed that it was fucking with my personal life, and it more because I have a relationship and I have dogs and shit. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult because I would say I don't think I do, but I think that there's people in my life that sometimes think I do, right? Like
Right.
for me, I'm like, well, you work at different times than I work. It's like if you go and work, let's say from 6 to 10 at night, right? And I'm working from 9 to 5. Well, it's like, and you're like, oh, well, I want to hang out. Like, I want to hang out during the day, or I have this I want to do. Like, come golf with us in the morning, or whatever it is, right? And it's like, well, man, I'm working, and then it's like I'm done work at this time. If you want to hang out then, and then they have something, it's like, you know what I mean. So I feel
That's
like
nice you set hours though.
yeah, I try to for sure. I usually try to be like, it's just hard though, because like there's there's days where I'm done at 10 at night. There's days that I'm done at 4 in the day. There's days that I'm done at 12, and I had a really short day. Like I just went from 9 in the morning till 12, and it's like, oh, nothing else is on the calendar. I guess I'll like just do some extra content. So I don't know. I try to really make sure though that like my weekends I'm available to go do stuff. Like I try to make sure on my weekends I can go have fun, or I can go hang out with my boys.
Oh, so you're setting that. You're making.
I typically try to make time, but like the only way I can do that is when I really live and die by my calendar. And
I love that.
Yeah, that's kind of the only way I think.
You're the only person I think who's ever came to my podcast that had 4 people like with him too. Like you had your shit together, which I like.
Oh yeah,
that's cool, and I
Thank you,
admire
man.
that a lot. All right, so this is the time now where I'm going to decide whether or not you're guilty of it. I'm going to say not guilty.
Really?
The only reason that you're not guilty, in my personal opinion, is I feel like Dave Portnoy would be the one to do it, not you. I feel like you'd go along with it,
that's
but I don't.
Really, all right, that's
if
a good
anything,
point.
accomplice. But that being said, Josh Richards, you're officially locked out. Is there anything you'd like to say to any camera? There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's like
3.
Could I be different and look at the one behind me?
No one's ever done that. Go for it.
Yes. All right. Well, this is the pod. Thank you for having me, Alex. I know I'm not looking at you right now. It's kind of weird, but
we're in spirit.
Yeah, I wanted to. Oh fuck! Now my headphones are falling off. Anyways, thanks for having me. Watch BFFs. That's about it.
Yeah. Watch BFFs. I will.
Sweet.
All right. Bye.